I can hear coming down the street. No. Stop. The chief would do something like that. Sure. I just telling him I nicknamed you a few minutes ago.
There you go.
All right.
All right, I'd like to open the July 16th Foster Town Council meeting. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I have no announcements, so consent agenda.
Make a motion, we accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Steve, James is excused. He's on vacation.
Oh, James is excused. Mr. Barrentine's excused. All right, I'd like to open the second public hearing on the charter amendments. First off, I want to say that because there were some questions about it, part of my duties as the town council president is put the agenda together and have it ready for every meeting. So these items on here are the items that I took from the first committee meeting and second committee meeting and third committee meeting on what was presented as requests. And some of them were presented, one was presented last week for the meeting. That's also on here. So that's number 5. So I put these on here. Okay, I just want to make that clear. That's part of my job, is actually put this agenda together and get it to the town clerk and she posts it. All right. So we will start with town charter amendment number 1, the financial town meeting. Yes.
Hold it. So. Now it's time.
Before we start with the amendments, last meeting that are, I would like to correct for the record, if that's all right.
Yes.
And, okay.
Yep.
Thank you. In last week's meeting, in defending the town council's right to move forward with putting changes on the November ballot, the town solicitor read just the first line of the charter, section 1404. She then said that was done, my understanding, and proceeded to section 1405. To brazenly pass over the remainder of section 1404, which is the very reason why the council should not be moving forward, is deceitful and makes the council look guilty. After she was
Ms. Joy, I just want to make, are you correcting something or are you
I am correcting multiple things
Okay,
in here.
as long as you're correct.
It's also just possible that the council members or some of the council members might want to reconsider whatever votes they're making once I'm done. I'm not sure, but that's my hope. After she was pushed to read the rest of the section, it was pointed out that those steps were not done. She said to me, "You did submit a letter to the town council." The attorney seems to be claiming that by submitting a letter, the remaining steps outlined in section 1404 had been satisfied. She later goes on to say that there are 2 ways amendments can be proposed. One is the Charter Revision Committee. One is the town council. The town council can make their own proposed amendments that can be placed on the ballot. This is incorrect. There are not 2 ways the amendments can be proposed. There is one process outlined in the 2 sections of the charter, 1404 and 1405. Nowhere does it say that section 1404 does not need to be followed. By that logic, the council could ignore any sections in the charter that it does not like. The letter the attorney referred to was sent by me and the only other remaining committee member, Bobby DiPaolo, on June 11th. Despite having asked the town council for help in March, we had no communication about the status of the committee. The June 11th town council agenda came out just under the 48-hour deadline and simply said charter review. We scrambled to organize our notes, and the letter we submitted describes what happened with the committee and lays out the reasons we believe the town council does not have the authority to put changes on the ballot. Our response goes on to say that while the town council has the power to decide what amendments are ultimately placed on the ballot, this was never in dispute. It must first appoint a committee and receive its recommendations. We point out that many residents approached us because they wanted to provide input into the proceedings, and the council was denying the public their rights by not ensuring the committee met. We then say, in the event the town council ignores the charter and moves forward putting changes on the ballot, we have compiled our recommendations, taking into consideration public input when available, the committee discussions from our 4 meetings, and our own research. In no way did we imply that these recommendations were the official recommendations from the Charter Review Committee, nor could they be. As Steve correctly pointed out multiple times in the June 11th Town Council meeting, just briefly, this is a quote, "Looking at it, it doesn't look like a valid letter to me anyways. Well, it's recommendations, but it can't be recommended by 2 people on a committee, and I don't think they took a vote on it." I then replied that we weren't recommending as a committee. We were recommending as the former committee members who did the work. Our primary point was the council should not be moving forward. Steve then said, "That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is you didn't have a vote to send these recommendations forward from the committee." And I replied, "We're not contesting that." The town solicitor sat through that entire exchange. Then in the July 9th Town Council meeting, she decided that our letter should be considered as an official communication from the committee. That assertion is ridiculous. In last week's meeting, Heidi undermines the solicitor's strategy by saying, quote, "They hadn't done the work, but in the end, the committee failed. We did not receive any recommendations from the committee within the 6-month time. There are important issues that are facing the town. We can make the recommendations because our committee failed." Steve further undermines the solicitor by saying, "What's on the charter amendments right now to submit is going to benefit the town. So after my review with the solicitor going through the law and our charter, if the committee submits nothing to us after 6 months, we can put stuff on." Both Heidi and Steve seem to blame the failure of the committee on Bobby's and my concern over the subpar charter review committee minutes. The entire charter review process is meant to be open to the public, not just now in the final hour when the council has already made up its mind. The public hears the committee discuss each section, has the opportunity to provide input. The minutes are a way for the members of the public who could not attend a meeting to learn what transpired. At our second charter review meeting on December 12th, Bobby and I were handed a copy of the minutes and we were shocked. They were simply a glorified agenda. We discussed briefly our concerns over this, and we both thought that more detail would be added next time. We were not the only ones concerned. Town Clerk Susan Dillon emailed the committee on December 16th with examples of past charter review minutes. Then at our third meeting in January, Bobby and I discovered the minutes had not been improved. In last week's town council meeting, Heidi said, quote, "I understand that like half an hour of each meeting that they had was devoted to arguing over minutes instead of going through the actual charter." I had the full transcript of the January charter review meeting. For just over 2 minutes, there's a discussion of whether everyone had the minutes. I said I'd gotten a copy in town hall, not by email. And then they're read out loud. Cheryl Wright then spends quite a while asking how town hall had gotten a copy of the minutes. Finally, 5 minutes in, I say to Mike and Cheryl, "I know you both have said this is the minimum required and you think it's fine. You're okay with that. I still think that we're doing important work, and I think it's a disservice to the townspeople and to us as well not to have a lot more detail than this. So I realize that you have some concerns with quoting people, and I totally get that, but it seems like we need to be somewhere in between." A discussion follows about how much detail should be included. Bobby talked about minutes from previous committees and then mentioned we could ask if the town clerks and town hall could transcribe the tape recording. Mike asked some questions. We both assured him that the transcription wouldn't be verbatim and the committee could correct or delete anything before approving the minutes. Cheryl eventually says that if she doesn't have to take minutes, she will, quote, "resign from being the secretary." Mike, at this point, seems favorable toward the idea. The entire discussion takes just over 10 minutes, hardly half an hour, and this was the longest conversation we had about the minutes. On February 3rd, the committee was forwarded an email from the town's previous solicitor, Joanna Killey, who provided detailed guidance on what the minutes should include. She said that the minutes are an important part of the Open Meetings Act and that the overall goal of meeting minutes is to allow any person reading the minutes along with the agenda from the same meeting to learn what took place at that meeting. This includes discussions that occurred during the meeting, any motions taken, any votes taken. Mike and Cheryl ignored the solicitor, and in our February meeting, which ended up being the final committee meeting, We received minutes that were virtually the same as the previous two. Bobby and I would not approve them voting no. Steve said last week that, quote, initially when the committee started, everything was about the meeting minutes. I did address that, and I believe that did get fixed. It took a couple of meetings. The next meeting had better minutes. They weren't verbatim. I did address it. I spoke with Mike, the chair. He goes on to say, I spoke with the chair about the meeting minutes. They were corrected. They're not like our minutes in the town council. We go a little above and beyond, but they were the standard of the state. I have a copy of all the minutes, so I don't see how Steve thinks he fixed this. Steve goes on to give a long explanation of how he addressed the problem that meetings weren't being called. He says he spoke with the vice chair, Josh Smith-Lilo, and that other than, quote, grabbing him by the ear and dragging him into a meeting, end quote, he had done what he could. When Bobby asked Steve why he never communicated with either of us about what was happening with the committee, Steve says, quote, why am I going to respond to attacks like that? I'm not going to respond to attacks. First, it was your job to do so, but second, what attacks? This is what we had sent. To the Honorable Town Council, we are looking for guidance from you regarding the status of the Charter Review Committee. We were scheduled to meet on February 24th, the day after the blizzard. We received an email from the chair, Mike Krosick, that afternoon simply saying he couldn't make the meeting. This is the second meeting he's had to miss. The February 24th meeting ultimately didn't take place, and we have heard nothing about future meeting dates. We're very concerned that we're running out of time to fulfill our responsibilities. We then go on to raise our concerns over the minutes and refer to the former solicitor's guidelines. We conclude with, we are honored to be part of this committee and are enjoying the work we've done so far. We simply don't know how to proceed and are hoping you can intervene. How on earth that letter can be construed as an attack, I just don't know. The bottom line is the council and the town solicitor have failed to justify why they feel they do not need to adhere to 1404 of the town charter. Instead, they're blaming the two people who have remained committed to the charter and to their oath as committee members and to the welfare of this town. Thank you.
All right. Let's see. Amendment number 1. Is there any other discussion about the financial town meeting moving from May to June? Any discussion? Okay. All right, amendment number 2, capital reserve fund. Up here, please.
I don't have last agenda in my hands. I know that Mr. Boyd brought up the question of how to present the voting process
Right.
to the public. And I can't remember if this was outlined or not, as it is here. Yes, it is. So this is this contrary to what he had indicated, or
No, this has no, this doesn't have anything to do with what he
just
indicated.
yes or no? Because, you know, I know in the past, and I'm sure he brought this up, that they would say that if you sat in your seats, it was a no vote.
Right.
This is saying you absolutely have to get out of your seat. And
Yeah, none of that is changing. Whatever was in the charter prior, none of that section is changing except for the date. That's the only thing that's changing.
okay, I can't remember what he recommended.
Yeah, that's the only thing that's changing.
Ever a valid vote. The rest of that whole paragraph, that's where you asked it to be scratched.
Okay, so that he could hold the meeting the other way?
I believe so.
Okay. So. That was my question.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Yes. Yes. The 2 to 4% is what you're
Yeah.
addressing? Okay.
And
I mean, I'm sorry, May to June, not the 2 to 4%, yeah. May to June. That's what we're discussing
no,
right now.
I thought you brought up 2 to 4.
No, not yet. That's the next one. No, I'm doing right now. You can stay right there. Yeah, you can stay
No,
right
you
there.
can stay
Stay
right
there.
here, Ron.
All right. Amendment number 2. Moving from 2 to 4% for appropriations. Discussion?
Yes, I'd like to remind everybody about finance. Everybody knows that you receive If you put money in the bank, you receive interest and your money grows. That's called the time value of money. If you have a zero budget, if you bring forward to the citizens a zero budget and a 3% year, that's a cut. That's a 3% cut to your operating budget, your overall budget. And as time value of money goes in this regard, that cut continues to grow. So we had 3 zero budgets presented to the citizens of Foster, 2 by John Lewis, 1 by Gordon Rogers. 9% over those years, if anybody can remember when John Lewis was in 15 years ago, we're short. I keep claiming we're short either $4 to $6 million in properly running this community. So if we had not done that, the 2%, which always worked, would now be the appropriate, probably. I'm going to guess at this, probably be enough. However, Kelly can correct me on that. Taking 2% and moving to 4% removes operating money from the town. We continue to decrease operating expenses and increase capital. I'm not saying capital is incorrect. All right. What I'm saying is we continue to hire part-time labor, which is new labor, which makes mistakes. Okay. We continue to train people. They move on to other places. What needs to be corrected is not the 2 to 4, whether you vote for this or not. What needs to be corrected, this council has a responsibility to raise revenue by about $4 to $6 million, which you haven't done, nor has any other council. Thank you for your time.
All right. Any other discussion on the 2 to 4% change? No? Okay. Move on to the land use conveyance tax. So we had some discussion last week. Remember from the land trust. So we're going to take that discussion, and I'd like to oppose an amendment to this amendment. So without lining out no less than 100% and taking out exclusively, putting that back in there, but changing the 100% to 50%. So it's only changing 100% to 50%, as Mr. Carpenter suggested as a possibility. So I'd like to entertain a motion to change the first line. The town council shall set aside as part of each annual budget no less than 50% of all funds collected pursuant to the land use conveyance tax, which are retained by the town of Foster as provided by state law.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the amendment to the amendment? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. So now we can discuss the land use conveyance tax amendment.
I'm gonna say.
Nope, now we can just,
No,
now we can
now-
discuss it.
We made our motion.
Yep. Yeah.
Now we have
can discuss
discussion.
it.
The,
I didn't say this before, but Susan Joyce, Windsor Road. I'm not gonna I'll let the land trust speak to that. I just wanted to, I ran a few numbers. I just wanted to give a reality check on the amount of money going to the land trust in general. I looked at the annual 5-year average for conveyance taxes received by the land trust, and that amount on average is $66,162 for a year. Now, calendar year 2025 was 77,820, definitely the highest year, but calendar year 2022 was 72,776. So not a huge jump. So on average for 5 years, 66,162 is what they'd be getting at 100%. As of October 2025, the state increased the conveyance tax rate for the town. So what they receive from $1.10 per $500 of sale price to $1.65 of $500 of sale price. People seem to think this is a substantial jump, But looking at a home sold for $500,000, the increase is $550. It's nice, but hardly a windfall. The third thing that's been mentioned a lot is that revenue from real estate transactions will continue to skyrocket due to the number of properties sold and the sale price, implying that the land trust will receive an ever increasing pile of money. However, the real estate prices first spiked in mid-2020 during the pandemic, and they continue to hold fairly steady due to scarcity of housing, which we all know about. And keep in mind, Foster is not Jamestown. Looking at real estate transactions from January through June 2026, the average sale price was $462,953.
Do you know
And-
how many were sold?
Yeah, that was 15 houses in that time period. Not, and I'm sorry, not necessarily houses, real estate transactions. So they could also
Real
include
estate.
land. Yes, exactly. And then keep in mind, mid-April through June are the peak periods for real estate sales. So of the 6 months period, that's probably a pretty good one to look at. The fourth thing is that looking at the amount of money the land trust requests each year for operational and capital expenses, again, looking at a 5-year average, just to even things out a little bit, the total that they request is $186,694 per year. Now, I understand that they don't necessarily spend all the money they request. However, if they spent half of that annual request, that would be $93,347 a
I don't
year.
think that's actually right. I think that's way off. I think that has to do with capital.
Well, I
Yeah.
combine, it's
That's not-
operational and capital.
That's right. but
Capital
it's
is separate.
No, I did not. I said
Yeah.
operational and capital expenses
said
together.
capital?
Yeah. So it's combined. The 993,347 a year is substantially more than the 66,162 they would receive at 100% of conveyance taxes. In fact, the amount they receive in conveyance taxes is just 35.5% of their annual budget request. So let's say the land trust no longer receives any conveyance money, and I know now you've decided to give them 50%. But 50% may still not be enough. They will presumably still be requesting an average of $186,694 for the year. I don't think the town council is likely to approve that budget. The conveyance tax is not taxpayer money specifically. It does not come from the taxes we pay Foster or to the state. Rather, this is money that could be used theoretically to reduce the tax burden. So to use Kelly's example from last week's meeting, it could be used to hire a new police officer. I'm all for hiring a new police officer. I think the police department is woefully understaffed. However, I think it's highly unlikely the town council will ultimately approve electing a new officer. And if they did approve it, then how much of that 66,162, again at 100%, is left for the land trust? Anything? So really, it gets down to what value the town council places on the land trust. And what value they think the land trust provides to the town. So Steve has said he loves the land trust, so do I, and I'm deeply appreciative of the hard work and care its members devote to our town. The land trust provides public access for many outdoor activities enjoyed by residents and visitors. I regularly walk my dogs on the trails. The economic development consultants hired by the town council in 2022 recommended an expansion of outdoor recreation uses as an economic draw and cited the Foster Land Trust as an asset to the town. And there are, of course, other important benefits of preserving open space, such as protecting our water and our clean air. In 2 surveys conducted by the planning board, these were qualities consistently rated as priorities for residents. So 66,162, that's 100%, seems like a bargain to me. Thank you.
So one of the things, I don't know if Ms. Joyce had, but one of the numbers that I was looking at was their cash balance. Do you have that? Do you have that cash balance?
We should have balance. More accurate.
Okay. Yeah, so the numbers I have are, right now in investments and money due is $700,000 cash.
So
that you
Linda
have investments.
Tibbetts, Foster Land Trust and 16 Mill Road resident. This was now all conveyance tax monies. We had sold a property that's in there. It is money that we need as backup
Yeah,
because
nothing
conveyance.
I'm saying what your cash balance.
And I believe it was 600,000 at one one of the last reports we had from Kelly, so it could be up to that now. We have them in high interest bearing accounts on purpose so that we can use the interest, and we're always hoping that we could get the interest to cover no funds at least. It doesn't always work out that way, but that's the goal because we are trying to work for the benefit of the town. Now, I love the change.
What was
I
that?
don't know, 2 Kleenex boxes, a candle, and yeah, no, I don't know. I think a shelf fell.
Oh.
I didn't think I pounded that, but yeah. Oh, okay, thanks. Yeah, the devil, right, the devil is here. Okay, so you left in exclusively by the land trust for the
Still-
percentage that we get,
Yeah,
which is excellent.
Yes.
I wish you had presented this to the land trust so we could have discussed it at a meeting and not on the last minute here before this is coming. You do realize that we have expenses, especially on the dam, that will take probably $500,000 out of what we have saved. That's why we're not spending it. That's why we're not going into excess, but that's not money. That's just sitting there.
It's unfortunate that you took on a property that,
It's unfortunate.
Problem like that.
Town didn't have anything in public record that would have come up when we had when we were doing this, because we went by the book. We had title search done. There was nothing in the public records that indicated that the dam might be subject to DEM.
I think any dam is.
Not, town was aware of this. Town didn't mention it.
It's a DEM issue.
And the attorneys didn't mention.
Well, they should have
mention it.
known.
But
better.
there's nothing wrong with that because the town has several dams and they should be in the best condition possible. So it's a good thing to have this done.
Mhm.
We have the money to do that. We're not asking the town for any money to support that project. It'll be a good thing for the town when we have it completed. But that will take the monies that we have unless we can get an agreement with DEM, which we're hoping for. But anyway, this 50% that you're going to, it's relatively low. I think we might have accepted something like more like 75%, but I cannot speak for the land trust. It's a 7-member board. We don't have the opportunity to discuss what your change is. So I have no idea what the rest of the board members would decide. I think that it would be better to put this on in a different year. I think it might be a good thing to do, but I think the board of the land trust should have an opportunity to discuss it. It's totally up to you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yes.
I'm going to say again, I approve of any recommendation that you have that concerns the land trust. First of all, this is one of the few towns that the land trust does not have to go to the citizens to buy money, to buy land. Okay, this transference tax happened one night very quickly at a town financial meeting. Okay, I'm going to say again to everyone here that most of the land of the 5 acres of each house is open space. So knowing the definition of open space, the town of Foster has more open space per average than any other town in the state except maybe Gloucester or Burville, right? I apologize to you, Mr. Plouffe, over the church, the Northwest. Well, the reason I approve,
I want to stay on.
yeah,
stay on
but
track
this
here.
is the topic. The reason I did that is because that thing was going to produce some revenue. Okay? This may produce, this request you're bringing forward may produce some revenue. The town of Foster has the highest taxes per citizen of any place. I own a house in the ocean, $3.5 million. My house here is worth the taxes should be 18 or 19,000 here. For 3.5 million on the ocean, we pay $14,000. All right. So as a service to the taxpayers, all right, this is the right thing to do. Maybe the council and the land trust should have a discussion about the overall plan of the land trust and how much land they should own and how you're going to help them maintain it. But the idea that the land trust is doing such a great thing for the town of Foster, they are. But 10 years ago, I had a moose across the street from my house. 4 years ago, there was a moose on Barb's Hill. There are bears every place. So the idea that the animals, they know where, the lines are and they won't cross, doesn't work. Okay? So the council is being responsible. I still say you should have added a review. When they start to get in financial trouble, there should be a review by any council, and it should be written in this charter amendment you're trying to make.
I think
Okay.
we can call for a review at any time.
You can, but
I don't
it's not in the thing you're writing. If
Right.
you put that there, and maybe they can call for the review
Mhm.
because you're asking for cooperation.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
But your job is finance. And I'm speaking both times about finance. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Oh,
That's the same one.
Another thing that should be in a charter change, if you were going for a charter change, the townspeople know exactly what the land trust can spend money on. It's in the charter. That's all we can do. We can't do anything else with it. If you went to 50%, there would be 50% of this money coming into the town that the townspeople have no control of, just going into general fund. You can gravel to
No,
anybody's
they-
driveway that you
we can
want.
do it through the financial town meeting. It'd be in the budget.
Mhm.
All funds are
Not
in-
necessarily. There aren't line items in the budget. Never have been line items in the budget.
In our
No.
budget?
Yeah,
in the town?
because that's the thing. It's fine to make an amendment, but the
Yeah, we-
townspeople should say, take 50% of it and put it into the fire departments.
Well, that has to
something.
happen at a financial town meeting.
No, not necessarily. I'm
Take
saying,
50%
you
put
could,
someplace else.
the way you're saying, right, if 50% is earmarked for the land trust,
So
50% should be earmarked for something that is a benefit to the townspeople.
as of right now, we don't do that with any other taxes that come in.
No, you don't,
So.
but you don't have any other taxes that.
Yes.
But
we do.
our
We do.
needs,
We have a food and beverage tax that comes in.
yeah,
Right,
Okay.
we don't itemize that and say, okay, we're gonna put that in a certain line item.
How
That's
much
a
is,
tax,
how
just
much do
like
you get in
conveyance
for the
tax
food and beverage
is-
tax?
Is a tax.
How much comes in with food and beverage tax?
I'm not sure. I don't know what the average is. But there's other taxes also. I mean, we have a hotel tax, there's other.
I want to
taxes
say
that
we
you would see.
budget about 30,000. And then we
Good.
budgeted, I
Okay.
want to say.
I'm just saying it's a
50,000
lot of
for
money
the-
that would be
For the
coming into the
pot shop.
town,
I-
and not for conservation and the towns, and it would be better to have an amendment to the Constitution that would, help this.
Yeah.
The thing is,
I forgot to say that.
all revenue that goes into the general fund offsets taxes ultimately, or a program or a project that you have running through the general fund. That's what it is,
That's
because
less we have to
all
ask for
revenue,
Taxpayers.
you take the total revenue, subtract out all other revenue, and that's how you
Yes,
create the tax.
But the
levy.
townspeople don't have a say in it, and if it were something written into the amendment, it would be there.
Don't they have a say in the budgeted expenses?
And they do not, because it's not line item. That's
Our
stated.
budgeted expenses are by department, and they are line item during the
Yes,
workshop.
but if they take something that you're
Okay.
only changing the bottom line and that's not a control. Just saying that there are much better ways to do this amendment. But you would have had to have discussed it.
well, we tried a couple of years ago. We did, we had meeting.
2024, there was a meeting.
Yes,
Yeah.
we
And,
did.
and the land trust responded to that. We didn't ignore it.
Mhm.
We did not stop you from putting something on the agenda. The town council opted not to do it at that time.
Which your letter stated you did not want to.
No, it did not say that we were going to argue it. They just wanted the land trust to state that we were in support of it. We were not in support of it. It would be defunding.
I
Mr.
don't
Marshall.
remember that. I don't.
I can get the letter back.
Was it a
and
letter
give you-
that-
It was read into
Right.
the minutes.
Was
It should be
from the
part
town
of,
council or?
it should be part of the
Okay.
minutes.
Okay.
You might not remember it, but it was there.
This is
Yeah, I
dated,
don't
this is a
recall.
letter from 5/14/2024. Forster Land Trust recognizes that it's responsibility of the people of Forster to manage the funds they have granted us to best protect and provide access to the lands we manage for them. It is not the land trust's responsibility to balance the town's budget. Therefore, the Land Trust Board cannot support any change to the existing charter for which a clear majority of voters have expressed their continued trust and support through their votes and survey responses. In addition, charter review committees continue to recommend that changes regarding the land trust should not be pursued. By continuing to preserve Forster's rural character, the Forster Land Trust attracts new residents and promotes the increasing tax base of the town. The careful management of the funds entrusted to the land trust has ensured the ability to the trust to maintain and improve trust properties with trails, bike, equestrian access, parking, and also to cover major expenses such as the current restoration of the Dunbar Dam. The land trust has been able to accumulate its funds over 24 years of careful management due to its independence from the vagaries of the town's economy and politics. After 2 decades of acquiring land and maintaining it through the voluntary efforts of the Forster Land Trust, is now putting those funds to work through hiring maintenance workers, buying necessary equipment, and improving and restoring infrastructure. In these ways, the Land Trust Board can, within our charter, best aid the future financial well-being of Forster. So based on, that response, you really didn't want to budge on anything.
We did not want to budge on what the council was suggesting.
That's not what, yeah. So there could have been a discussion back then too, and it wasn't, it was cut off by a letter.
Steve, can,
Who else with any other suggestion?
Well, I'm just reading the letter from 2024.
Steve,
Yeah. you can-
I just want to make a statement. It has nothing to do with what Linda just said, but it's an erroneous statement that Susan Joyce made in her letter that she read. You said that the conveyance fees are not taxpayer dollars, and they really are taxpayer dollars. I just wanted people to be clear that it was erroneous. It is taxpayer dollars.
Not taxpayer dollars.
Yeah.
What I
Yes,
said.
they are.
What, no, they are
Come
not.
To the town
What
from
ex-
the state.
What I said was they're not taxes that we pay to the town of Foster for our property taxes. They're not taxes that we pay in income tax to the state of Rhode Island. I didn't bring it over with me. I said they ultimately can offset the taxes that we pay, taxpayer dollars, but they themselves are not our tax dollars.
They,
The
it-
person
it-
They are
built the
tax.
house in the town of
That's right.
Florida. Hey,
Yes, so,
so they are.
okay, so one taxpayer. One
no,
taxpayer.
not one.
Yes, one.
Any property sold, right, Kelly, or bought, sold? Yes,
Yeah. Any property.
any property sold, the conveyance fees, if they go to the state, they come back to the town of Foster. If there was no land trust, those fees, they are revenue and they are tax dollars for the people in this town.
They are
What,
taxes.
what I said was the conveyance tax is not taxpayer money specifically. It does not come from the taxes we pay Foster or to the state. Rather, this is money that could be used theoretically to reduce the tax burden. So,
And
That's
yes,
correct.
there,
yes,
That's-
yes,
that's
that's
not
absolutely
money.
right.
It's taxpayer money. That's all it is.
yes, but it's not the same thing. It ultimately is taxpayer money.
So the beverage taxes that come back to us,
So not coming out of our tax dollars. where the
Still
people
off-
in the rest.
But those businesses,
Still
they're,
this our budget.
So the same thing would be said with food and beverage. Rather, it's money that could be used. It's coming back to the town, no question, could be used to offset the reduce the tax burden.
It is. It does.
exactly.
I said,
How is this any different?
it's totally different
It-
because to say that the conveyance tax is taxpayer dollars is coming out of we're paying the town of Foster for our property tax and part of that money is the conveyance tax.
No.
That's not true.
It's on the sale. It's
I know
on,
what it is.
yes.
We pay our Rhode Island income tax. Part of that money is that's our taxpayer dollars. I'm saying there's a difference. Ultimately, yes, it can be
It-
used to offset our.
Well,
we're
you
not
can
gonna agree
believe,
on
you
this. We're
you
not gonna
can,
agree.
if that's your thought process and you believe that, that's fine. But I'm,
totally believe.
but it's not the case.
It's taxpayer
well,
money. It is taxpayer.
It's,
Ultimately taxpayer money.
That's,
it
that's
is.
all we're saying. It's taxpayer money.
And that's
Taxpayer
what I'm, but it's, all right.
It's tax.
I just didn't want people to get the impression that the money, that we are mishandling money or
I
using.
would just like to say one thing.
Yeah.
I am a Realtor. I have been a Realtor for 38 years. When you sit at a closing table, monies are collected for the stamps. That is state money and they give it to the communities. They divvy it up the way they see fit. That's what I'm saying. I'm licensed.
Mhm,
I have background. I have certificates.
mhm.
So I don't want to hear anything else.
No, that's, we know that. That we already know that one.
You're not saying that. You're saying that it's, yes, it's money that you receive,
Right.
Yeah.
but it's money from the state. Don't tell me it's your
Oh, no,
money.
no. The state actually, just like the food and beverage tax, same thing. Same thing with food and beverage tax. No, we understand that part.
Yeah.
We understand that portion. Yes. Next person, if you can just step up.
Highland Ryder Burgess Road. I think that the major idea here is that you have a town entity that costs the taxpayers in this town not one red cent. And through their diligent volunteerism and their wise investments, they have been able to continue doing their work without costing the town taxpayers 1 cent. Why mess this up at this point, other than the fact that that you see, the council sees and has seen for many, many years, that this is a piggy bank they can't get their hands on. And perhaps we should just leave it alone. You know, if I know what would happen, I think everybody in the room knows what happened. You take 50%, suddenly we're renting another striper, we're doing this, that, and the other thing, rather than putting, investing in the town. Yes, Camoin said, just as Susan said, that one of our biggest assets is open space and that we should be capitalizing that and using that, which we haven't done. We also, compared to other communities, with the size of our town, we don't have that much land put aside for open space. If you look at, I don't know who has, I had it on my phone, but compared to Gloucester or Situate or West Greenwich or any of those, we don't have as much put aside as they do.
Yeah. And we're not arguing that point though.
But
We're not arguing that point.
And right, and their tax, but anyway, this is, does the town have an income problem? Perhaps. But I think that that a wise thing to do was before you start dismantling an entity that costs nothing, benefits the town.
Not dismantling. it.
Wait a minute, but you are essentially there, you are hindering their mission statement as far as what they want to do and what the town needs them to do. Perhaps the town should take a step back and number one, see, are you spending money wisely? There has never been a performance audit done on any individual department in this town. We don't know. But don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Don't start taking away what people in this town value the most for what? $30,000 a year on a good year? That's ridiculous.
I believe taxpayers will value it. And that-
That is not due to the land trust. And I think you are rating that you are rating
Every other tax.
you are rating their ability to continue to do their work, which they have done diligently. You heard the numbers. They wouldn't be able to do half the things they can do. And I really, really object to a council person saying something like, or intimating, oh, is it on? I did it.
Hold it. You can hold it.
Hold it.
Second.
There you go.
I know, it can't hear me. But saying that, the property with the dam, well, you should have.
I did
Uh,
not
look
say,
into
I
that.
said, I did not say that, Lynn. I said
Yes,
it's,
you did.
I said it's unfortunate that,
Same thing, same attitude. This, and as far as not, if you're going to do something that's monumental, I don't care if it was discussed 4 years ago or 10 years ago or last year. You do it this year. There are new land trust people on. You should have had the discussion with them this year. If you're going to, rather than just carry on this, we're going to get the money, we're just going to keep throwing it at the wall, and hopefully the taxpayers will let it stick. I really think this is a very backward thing that you want to do as far as to benefit the town. It's money that you have been operating without. Yes, I know.
with staff shortages.
Struggling.
Again,
So,
$30,000 would not pay for a police officer.
It could pay for part-time help in the summer.
You know what? The $187,000 increase in 1 year to the DPW without any
Yeah, well,
kind,
Yeah.
but without any kind of oversight to know whether or not that money is going to be used correctly. That's where the problem lies.
Well, it's a different subject, Lynn.
Betsy Puckett, Windsor Road. I have a question for Kelly. If we take that figure that Sue gave us of $66,000 on average per year, half of that is 33,000. What percentage of the budget is that?
Our current budget's still set.
yes.
So do the math. I did it and it came out with a lot of zeros. So I'm suggesting it's a very minuscule amount for the budget, number one. And number two, my other question was, how much per taxpayer is that amount?
I couldn't tell you that.
How many taxpayers we have?
I think.
No, it does, that's not how,
Yeah, but-
that's not how it would be, that's how.
I'm talking average.
Every taxpayer owns a different
I
house,
know.
so it would
Yeah,
be
it's-
That's
probably
base.
about 20 cents on the tax dollar, on the tax rate. That's all I can tell you.
But
That's what I quoted last week, and
the
I
the
think
bottom line is, as
the
Lynn
full
suggested-
83,000.
The bottom line is, as Lynn suggested, it's a minor amount. And we are-
disagree. I just, as the finance director, and this is only me saying, when it's very difficult when Ron stands up and says that we need to raise more money, and then every time you have an opportunity to.
I'm just asking
you
about
say it,
facts.
Right.
I'm just
So
working on
I do
facts,
agree
not
that's
emotion
something-
here.
It's
Thank
really
you.
a preference.
Yeah,
Mm.
and just so a lot of little things also add up to a big thing. So that might be a little, but then you got a little over here that they want to cut and a little over here, and it adds up to a big thing. Could be another percentage rate up in a raise.
Being well preserved by alcohol, nobody knows how old I am, but I'm gonna guess I was the only person, oh, I'm wrong. Pam was there. Guess that I'm the only person, hold on. Pam was young. I'm the only person that was at that financial meeting when it was voted in. This is really important, all right? When a homeowner, a taxpayer, sells their house, the state takes, I think, 7.5%. All right? That money, the state decide whatever the number is. That year, the state gave no increases to the towns, cities and towns of Rhode Island. In regard or to make an appropriate adjustment, they gave the transference tax back to the towns to help the taxpayers, not the land trust, not DPW, not anything, the taxpayers. That night, Nick Gorham, unbeknownst, stood up and said, I think it's a really good idea if we take this money that we don't need and create a land trust. Right? And Bob Boyden, the moderator, took the motion. They had it all printed out, and everybody felt so good about getting money that nobody needed. We voted in a land trust. Now, I've heard that it's only this amount of dollars. It used to be that amount of dollars that wasn't very important. It grows every amount each year. This money will continue to grow and not go to the taxpayers. That's you. So the choice is, you want to have a land trust or you want to continue to have your taxes grow up. Now, somehow, if I talk to the fire company, if I talk to, I don't know, some group, or they're the most important group in town, the library, and they always need more money. The only thing that nobody ever does is give the town, the council, more money. I was at a meeting one night when Denise DeFranco alone spent $210,000 that we didn't spend the year before. Just that night. Oh, let's do this. And the council voted yes. Now you have a brand new police station and no police. You have a highway department that needs more money. You have part-time employees, all right? So trying to balance out a budget that there's not enough money is the problem. Now, this is very unpopular. Nobody's going to clap for me, but too bad. Thank you.
Thank you. Any discussion, land trust? Yes.
Nicole Landers-Gavage, 69 Foster Center Road. One point before I get to my second point, if someone is going to insinuate that it's unfortunate that the land trust took over a property that has a dam that later determined needed infrastructural support and help, if you pitch that to a developer and you put a developer in the land trust shoes, I'd be willing to bet and almost guarantee that they'd be coming to this town council for money. The land trust is not doing that. And separately, I think if anyone here believes that your tax rate is going to go down because they've gotten money from the real estate conveyance tax to allegedly offset it, as opposed to them just taking it as additional money to work with, please see me after, because you're the well that I want to sell water to.
All right. Move on to amendment number 4.
Steve,
Yes.
at this time, I'd like to make a motion to remove the proposed amendment number 4 from the agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
I don't think it's the right thing to do. Explain what.
We don't need to
Because
explain.
my explanation, I speak only for
Yeah.
myself. The whole council. Can't use the mic, sorry. Is, I think 3 are enough to put on a ballot. I don't think we should overwhelm the voters and start listing all the wants and everything, because they're just gonna Some people say, I'm gonna vote no for everything, only because they don't like one thing. They don't think about each charter change. I would say, I didn't get mine. So you know what? I think it's a good idea to remove it. I want people to see at least three, whatever three it is, and make their votes on that. And at the end of the day, the voters who will be voting on these, not us. So everybody runs up here and says, oh, the council's no good, didn't do this, didn't do that. Well, you know what? In the end, you're voting for it. And if you vote no, and it passes no, it's no, right? And that's how that'll go. Thank you.
Any other discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Right. All right, last meeting, we had a suggestion from Ms. Joyce that was brought up. Section 206C.
What was? oh,
It's about elections. So if a seat on the town council becomes vacant, it will be filled by the candidate from the most recent general election who received the next highest number of votes. If that candidate is unavailable, the council will move to the next eligible candidate. So on until the list is exhausted. New member must be sworn in at a regular town council meeting within 30 days after the board of canvassers confirms their eligibility. In the case of a tie vote, or if no available candidates remain on the list, a special election will be called by the town clerk in the manner prescribed by law.
Steve, can I
Yes.
just interject here?
Yeah.
So I know on the agenda, it didn't specifically say Town Charter Amendment number 5, but you are reading this as a separate section.
This is
than
separate,
Number
correct.
4. Okay, I just want to
Yep.
make sure that everybody
Mhm.
understands that that's separate.
Yeah, it's a separate section. So is any discussion on this one? Yes.
Do you need to include the previous language that the suggested language is replacing?
That
This is
that would
entirely
be
new,
in-
right?
Yeah, that would be included on the ballot, right? Is that how we put it on the ballot?
That read in here, or I have it if you want. Would like to read it.
Yeah.
Because all the other ones have the language that's being replaced. So what it currently says, I'm sorry. What it currently says is if a vacancy shall occur in the town council more than 6 months prior to the next succeeding general election, a special election shall forthwith be called by the town clerk in the manner prescribed by law to fill such vacancy for the remainder of the term. Vacancies occurring less than 6 months prior to the next general election shall be filled by the town council until the next general election. So the town clerk Susan Dillon brought that forward as a way to save
Mhm.
taxpayer dollars. And that language that is up on the screen is what our proposed replacement language would be.
So just to clarify, and thank you for reading that, Ms. Joyce, you're looking to replace, so if in fact, when you go to vote, you would just make a motion that you would strike all of the language in that section currently and replace it with the language here.
206C.
Right,
Or is it 206 or 206?
it's 2.06C.
It's definitely C. Okay.
Mr. Cluff, you have a hand here.
Oh, yes, come on up. Sorry, it's good.
Mike Krosik, 48A Walker Road. My only concern with that language is that effectively what you're saying is the first person to lose should be on the council next. Right, so that person didn't get voted in. So you're basically taking a person who didn't get voted in and putting them on the council because someone else that did get voted in ended up not getting put on the council. So, you know, I've looked over this previously and it just doesn't make any sense to me. I think that if someone's going to be in an elected position, they should be elected by the people, not put in a position because someone else won and then didn't get put on. I just don't think that that is a part of like a democracy. It's just like the first loser gets put on by default. I just don't see the point in that.
Thank you.
Mr. Krosik was not at the last town council meeting, so I said this, I wasn't going to repeat it, but I shall. The request that we were proposing was made by, as I said, our town clerk Susan Dillon. I said last week that there was some discussion in our committee about ensuring that voters had a say in who served on the town council. In our research, we discovered that turnout for special elections is extremely low. In 2008, only 672 votes were cast. In 2016, 591 votes. And in 2023, 437 votes. Therefore, not only is it the cost of a special election high in both money and manpower, but the turnout is also not reflective of the voting public. And if this were presented to people as they went in to vote, they would know what they were doing and they would know what they were choosing.
Yes.
Nicole Landers-Gavage, 69 Foster Center Road again. I think Mr. Kravich, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing, your name is on point, and I think his point is well taken. I think it's just a little bit different where we don't have majority vote here. It's more, highest vote getters, and that could be somebody that ostensibly got 8% of the vote and they're on the council or in an elected position. So I think it's it's distinguishable on that because it's not majority vote. So that's what I would think would be a good reason for this section 2.06C to be added.
No.
Say my name again.
No, we're.
Across 48A Walker Road.
Practice for us.
Is it? Rozick. If I'm understanding the last person that got up, so basically what we're saying is that someone could get 8% of the vote and that they could be on the town council. Is that what I was hearing? Okay. So I just can't think of another scenario. I mean, is there any, I think this had been talked about. I mean, it's no surprise. I was on the charter review committee for a hot second, but that it doesn't make a lot of that there's not much precedent for this. There's very little precedent for it. And I think adopting that just is just bad for a town to say that the residents or town citizens did not vote this person in, but because someone else didn't get voted in, therefore they get voted in. So you could have someone who effectively just a handful of people voted for, but because no one else ran for town council, that person gets on unqualified, whatever. You could just have, I mean, if you have 6 people that ran, right, and 5 people get voted in, and then one person just gets a couple votes.
Quiet, please.
Right? Then someone gets on the town council with a couple of votes. It just doesn't, I don't think that's the solution. I agree in principle that spending a whole bunch of money on a special election stinks, but I don't think that you replace it. That's bad medicine. Like I no other medicine works. Therefore, I'm going to replace it with medicine that is bad medicine. It's just, that's not the way you approach anything in life. And I just don't think that just the next vote getter to save, how much do we spend on something like this? I know it's a good amount.
It's like 7,000.
I know. It
I know.
stinks.
But you have to understand that.
For
if there is
400
like a
voters.
Point or two, a
Two.
vote or
So,
two.
Mike, please.
You're not special.
Yeah, there could be a vote or two between the 5th and 6th person. Believe me, that's how, when you look at it, maybe we do an alternate. We have an alternate on the ballot as a 6th. We could change that.
I am more in favor of an alternate than I am just the first loser. That's like, you know what I'm saying?
We've
'Cause
never
that's a-
had
that's-
2 people quit, right, or leave and have to replace 2. It's always been 1, and it's always kind of been at the very beginning, right after
Quiet,
an
please.
election. The elections not only cost a lot of money, they take a lot of time, and it's a lot of work. And it's just very difficult. So if we could just do the alternate, 1 alternate,
Wouldn't
This-
the
I'm saying
alternate be
the-
number 6 anyway?
would be number 6.
So it doesn't change
It
it.
doesn't,
You could essentially do that, but to me, like at the end of the day, I think that when you start getting into something like this, I think if that's going to become the case, then you have to do it across the board. You just don't do it for the council, 1, but 2, it's, again, you're putting someone in who didn't get voted in by the public, and I think you can spin it a million different ways and it costs money, but again, that person did not get voted in. That's just,
Yeah,
that's my.
I actually agree with you. Any other discussion? Yes.
Jackie Haynes, Plainfield Pike. I'm new to this, okay, but I'm sitting here and I'm listening and I'm thinking that sixth person did get voted in. Doesn't it say the top 5 get it?
Yes.
Isn't that what it says? Okay, so the people did vote for that person to this level. All right, he didn't make the top 5, but let's say, I'm just making this up hypothetically, 5 people get in, the next day 1 dies. Who's going to get it? That person. I think that's a good way of putting it. Or if you want to make it be an alternate, that would be fine, but I think that suits.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All right, we'll close the public hearing. And we are going to go to votes to put on the ballot.
Okay, Steve, I will make a motion to approve,
Well,
Um,
do it one at a time.
yeah,
Okay.
number 1, section 1002, financial town meeting, and to remove the last, I don't know if it's 2 sentences, it's the part, whenever a ballot vote is called for at any financial town meeting, the vote shall consist of anonymous voting. It was Bob's recommendation. Hmm?
We just close public hearing.
Okay. All right, so let me reword my motion then. I make a motion to approve the amendment to section 10.02 financial town meeting.
We'll make sure we wanted the verbiage to be.
So specifically, you just need to read in exactly what you wanted to say. So
Oh,
you're
read the
looking
whole
to,
thing?
you're looking to
Okay.
remove May, replace it with June. So if you want to read what you would like for it to say.
Okay, I'll read that.
Up to the page.
J-
So you just read
we
the
leave-
first 2 sentences.
Get rid of this change. Okay. All right, I make a motion again. To approve the proposed amendment to section 10.02 financial town meeting, which reads, the electors of the town shall assemble each year in financial town meeting on the first Tuesday in June at 7 p.m. for the purpose of ordering any tax which lawfully may be ordered, making appropriations, and transacting any other business appertaining to the financial affairs of the town, which legally may come before such meeting.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second.
So we're getting rid of that whole paragraph?
It's a,
It's just changing it from May to June.
No.
Yeah.
No, we're removing this whole paragraph.
No,
No.
no.
Okay.
Why didn't you read that part then?
Well,
You guys,
But
so you guys can discuss your amendments. If you would like to change the way that this is written, you can make a motion based off of how you would like it to read, based off of the public discussion that has been done. You just
I
have to
thought-
open it, you know,
I thought
if there's a motion
just did that.
and, right. So if there's a motion, you guys can have a second and you can open up for public comment, like the 3 minutes that you would normally have any other time you have a motion. But public discussion does not have to re-enter or reopen if you're just making amendments
That's
to
my,
it.
that's my, okay, I thought it had to be a public hearing. That's why I said no. So if you want to adjust that motion
I thought I did.
no,
We
to remove
read
that.
it the way she wants it.
Yeah.
Right.
To be
You read it
written.
the way that you want it.
Yes,
said that
Yeah.
one.
I ended it right here, and Sue knows where it was ended.
Yeah.
So yes, yes.
Yes, from whenever down.
So
I
whenever,
just wanted to make sure it was
Okay.
clear exactly what
Yeah,
you
yeah,
were
yeah.
proposing, sorry.
my
Mhm.
fault, I wasn't clear. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We had a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Right, passes.
Okay, I would make a motion to approve the charter amendment number number 2, section 10.10 Capital Reserve Fund, there shall be an additional, and I'm sorry, there shall be an annual addition to the amount appropriated by the financial town meeting equivalent to 4% of the total of all other appropriations approved at the meeting as a capital reserve fund. Such appropriation and the addition of the same to the amount to be raised by taxation shall be made by operation of this section of the charter without the necessity of any vote or any other action by the town. Such amount and any accumulation shall be held and invested by the finance director as a separate fund, and from time to time, any amount from such funds may be expended upon authorization by the annual or a special financial town meeting for the purchase of improvements set forth in the capital program. Reference of 15-2023.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Right. One.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
I make, let me see how I have this written out. Hold on one second.
Yeah, so this is all in, let's make changes to this. 100%, 50%.
Okay. All right. Charter Amendment number 3, section 1017, 10.17, land use conveyance tax. The town council shall set aside as part of each annual budget no less than 50% of all all funds collected pursuant to the land use conveyance tax, which are retained by the town of Foster as provided by state law, except as provided for in section 10.17A. The funds shall be used exclusively by the Foster Land Trust for the acquisition and preservation of open space pursuant to the legislative charter of said land trust. A, the operating and administrative budget of the Foster Land Trust shall be approved by the voters at the annual financial town meeting. The approved amount shall be reimbursed to the town by the Foster Land Trust from the funds designated in section 10.17, reference of 11-6-2012.
Second.
Right, motion and a second. Any discussion?
Read as used exclusively.
We amended.
We changed it.
that. We amended
When
that.
we talked
So
about
is-
it.
Put it- We put it back in.
Put it back in. All right, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Right, and the last one is section 2.06C.
Okay, this is, number 4 was removed. And, this one has been added. This is, under, let me see. It's under town clerk, right?
No, no,
It's still, wait a minute, where is this one? We don't have a number. You've. Oh, no, I've got this.
town council.
Okay,
Article 2 of town council.
okay.
And then C.
I just want to make sure it's not written here. I want to make sure I say it right. All right, so I'll make a motion to approve the proposed charter amendment from section 2.06C under Article 2 of the Charter Town Council. Vacancies, forfeiture of office, filling vacancies. And to replace the prior verbiage of that section with the following. If a seat on the council becomes vacant, it will be filled by the candidate from the most recent general election who received the next highest number of votes. If that candidate is unavailable, the council will move to the next eligible candidate and so on until the list is exhausted. The new member must be sworn in at a regular town council meeting within 30 days after the Board of Canvassers confirms their eligibility. In the case of a tie vote, or if no available candidates remain on the list, a special election will be called by the town clerk in the manner prescribed by law.
A motion, we have a second?
Second.
Right, any discussion?
I was kind of up in the air about this. until when Mike Crowick spoke, and that was I thought that was a valid point. I thought it was a valid reason to keep the language that we already have. That's just my opinion.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Nay.
No.
All right, that one does not pass. Moving on to new business. Forest Center Fire Station Goosetown Tower update. So we had more discussion on the expenses for the tower remaining. And the town is probably gonna have to cover this cost right now. When we're looking at capital and possibly some police department capital
This is to put our
to cover,
equipment.
yeah, to cover the labor. So I received a letter from Goosetown. Stating that staying in the current room. So my suggestion was to keep it in the current room where it is now in the fire station. Assuming that would save cost on labor for moving it from one room to another. There's a lot of area that, I'm not an expert on. So I took that from Goosetown. So between what they call latency for the distance from the tower to the room, the type of equipment they currently have in the room, the new piece of equipment that has to be installed by Goosetown, there's not enough room in that room. So there's a multitude of reasons why they have to move to this other room, and they're thinking it may actually cost a little more if they keep it in the same room just to upgrade that room. So based on their expertise and the way it went to them to request that move and the equipment, we're probably gonna have to cover the cost. There's no vote on it right now.
We don't have.
So we're gonna,
Yeah.
we do have a quote. It's $21,000 for labor
Mhm.
and $9,000 for engineering.
So 30.
Yep, so $30,000. I did reach back out to Forces Center to discuss. So I feel like I did my due diligence to reach back out to them, so I did. The work does have to be done. The second tower is coming down. That was already approved by the planning board on the initial project. Our equipment's on that tower, so we have to make the move. We're kind of almost obligated to because we lose our communication. So we're moving to the new tower. All the tower work, just to reiterate, all the tower work is being done by MCM, who's actually installing the tower. They're covering the cost of that. A new piece of equipment, which is very expensive, they're covering the cost of that new piece of equipment going into the new room inside Forces Center. So the only thing that's changing is inside Forces Center. They are providing the power. Forces Center is covering the cost of the power. So they have to run breakers and receptacles for the new racks that are going in that new room. But we are under the gun because MCM, who is the installer, is currently here installing it, and they're coming to the point where they got to put the antennas on the top. There is a process that we have to roll the service over because we don't want to lose communication. So, and they're working on that process. That's part of the labor costs. So they have to build a temporary service. So when they take those antennas down, we can roll to the new antennas. So there's going to be a process that they have to do that. So that's part of the labor costs also. But I just wanted to bring that forward to let you know that, we are going to be covering that cost. Like I said, we're going to work with the financial director, and we'll bring it back to the council to see if we need to vote on where we're actually grabbing that money from.
Just gotta reiterate, I don't have a tree and have.
I know.
Good money.
I know.
So would it be great if we had known what was taken to extend the lease?
No kidding.
And get the top.
Yep.
And I'm going to be bitter about it as they collect revenue. And we pay the bill, and by we, I mean you pay the bill, the taxpayer.
So
I'm done.
so there was that, there is revenue coming in. So, the town is getting 50% of that revenue. It's only $500 a month, but it is something. So obviously that is going right to that cost over time, but we have to front that cost to get the labor completed. So, yeah, well, so I just want to give you an update. Yes. I know.
Right. Is there potential for more revenue?
Yes, so any new companies that want to go on the tower will increase the revenue. So that would be on the, well, Forces Center, if they have people come to them and say, hey, we want to get on your tower. That's when they can put more stuff on there. Oh, MCM still, they're managing. Okay. All right, so yeah,
Right,
MCM.
so they anticipate that because
We
if
get
they've got to pay for the
50%.
electricity, they're only getting $500 a month.
It's about $250 extra for per tower, per, am I right? Per,
No, each new renter, I think there's 3 rental spaces, I'm sorry. Which, I don't know. which one.
Yeah, you can talk.
you can talk about it, you're
Yeah.
not voting.
Alright,
Talk.
There's 3 spots left empty, and they will be paying 700 a spot.
Okay.
And that will also be shared with the town.
50-50, again,
Yeah,
it
it's still
would be
50-50
until they
though.
recoup
Yeah, we already know
$48,000.
that. You know, I mean.
We get the idea, Kelly.
Yep. So no vote.
Any other questions? No? Okay. All right, police station grant. So we are in the final phases. We finally received some bids on the next steps, and this is for the grant. This is not coming off the contract. Contract's already signed, completed. That was the 4.68 million. This is the grant that we have now to finish and complete the stuff we wanted to complete. So we have 4 bids that we have to vote on to get them moving forward.
Steve, the
Yes.
contract's not completed.
Well, it's not, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say completed. It's not completed yet.
Okay.
Not completed yet. I mean, it's already,
Considering this a work order, change order simply because it was easiest for the grant, and that's what USDA suggested. That's why it's listed that way.
yeah, I missed one. It's not completed. Okay, so start with the largest one here. You guys should all have it in a sugar sink.
Yeah, which one?
So we're gonna work on,
We got interior monument, site scope, fencing scope.
this is tracking number 4, which is site work, site package.
Yeah.
So site scope, there were 3 bidders, one for 485,220, one for 435,650, and one for 290,560. The recommendation from the building committee subcommittee was to utilize, and also from NEC, who's the general, DiCenzo, which is 290,560. So yeah, 290,560. So I will entertain.
Can I see your
Yeah, you
paper?
can do, yes.
You have to,
I can't read that stuff in there. It's so
do
tiny.
you have to accept the 295,60 or the total project cost of the estimated at 316? I don't know which one.
316, what do you have?
You go on the next page, please. The whole- Is that what you're talking about?
So are you voting on the whole and the whole thing in the holds, or are you just doing the just Chenzo? That's.
I don't see a 316 number.
Oh, because of the,
290, 26,282 for the holds for a total projected cost.
oh, total project, cost, there it is, because you have 116 for the holds.
Yeah.
Yep, that's it, sorry.
842, right?
Yep,
So
community cost breakdown, yes.
I don't know which one you have to do.
So,
Yeah.
so I'm,
I think the cost of the project, because we're using a subcon, like, because we're
Yeah.
using New England Construction to go through so that we don't have to do. all
They're doing the bidding for us,
and
right,
They're
right.
doing all the GC work. That I think the total that you have to approve is the 316 when you.
it's
when
actually,
you-
yes.
it's actually
Yeah.
406.
So why 406?
That's what's on the,
That's what's on here.
on the letter.
Well, then why is his total projected cost of 316?
I've got total projected cost of 406
It's
on
on,
page 2.
Is that his amended? Remember, he said he amended it, and I have the, maybe I have the original. That's fine.
Yeah, this is the last one, but it won't go over that, so it's less for.
406,842.81. Okay, so I will make a motion to award the bid for the site package to Desenzo Inc. in the total amount of $406,842.81.
Second.
All right, motion and a second, any discussion? Yes.
Once upon a time, when the police station was, discussed, they were talking about charging stations. Is that still part of or did that go away?
I don't think we're installing any charging stations.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just wondered.
Did we vote?
Not yet, it's just- All right, any other discussions? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And the total is different.
I could not read that on my
Yeah, it
computer.
was,
It was
it
like,
was kind of a.
even with my super strong glasses, I couldn't.
That's why I print.
He's just hanging
Oh,
out.
sorry, sir.
I'm all fired up.
Oh, no, good.
We gotta wait. We gotta get-
Gotta wait.
We got 4 of these to do on.
Yes.
You gotta wait.
Oh,
I know you.
all right.
Just, but
Yeah, I can't wait. You're gonna love
I'm sure.
Any fence, is
Yeah,
that
New England
New
fence,
England
that's the
fence?
fencing, yeah.
Okay. Okay, I make a motion to award the bid for the fencing for the police station to New England Fence in the total amount of $75,680.60.
Second.
All right, motion and a second, any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
This is the monument? Oh, no. Okay. I make a motion to award the bid for interior and building signage for the police station to B Sign in the total amount of $3,624.
Yes.
No, is it? Yeah. Oh, yeah, I guess it is. Wow. Okay.
Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Last one,
Monument.
the monument sign.
Okay, I will make a motion to award the bid for the monument signage for the police station to Swenson Granite in the amount of $6,975.81.
That's page 2.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second, any discussion?
What a disparity in quotes
Yeah,
from the other two.
yeah, absolutely. Huge.
Yeah, the next lowest was 10,000 more.
Yep.
And the other one was double that.
Double that.
Yeah, wow.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I'll sign them. I like you to get scanned. Public comment, Mr. Seracio.
You're first on the list, Ron.
All right, next, Ms. Joyce. Ms. Joyce, you're up.
First and out. Last meeting, the council moved forward a letter, I think, to the attorney backing the idea that you wanted to litigate the $1 million that the voters voted to reduce the million by. Dollars more, the 3%. Horses will be cut. When horses are cut, 220 students that bring in four dollars to the region. Lost forever. Okay. You are The reason- Auxiliary
Ron, talk into the mic.
The reason we have, athletics is. Okay, there you go. All right, so the reason we have athletics in New England is an auxiliary to academics, okay? I don't know about the football team. I know about the wrestling team, sending kids to Princeton, Stanford, all kinds of places like that. But let me assure you, my high school football team, silly thing, all right? 3 years ago, we sent a pro, all right? Richard Keenan was a financial advisor. Bill Wasilius was a physical therapist, and Eddie Baker became a dentist, right? The reason to have athletics is an auxiliary to academics. I can guarantee you that most of the Foster voters that were at that regional meeting voted for the budget. The Gloucester voters, the 100-something with the baseball hats, voted against it. All right? You're not representing, as you claim, the Foster voters when you move that forward. You are representing the Republican Party of Gloucester that intends to do damage to the region, which will eventually come back to the people in this room and tax it, or will affect some of the people in this room as children. One of the reasons people move to this community, right now, your grade school has the same score some of the worst schools in the state. Your region is doing great work, and you moving that forward, that letter forward, the 5 of you, is despicable at any point. All right. The idea that you want to take an extra $1 million from the region, they have a surplus. Right? Who's doing a better job? Hey, the region. You and the Gloucester want to take $1 million away from the region. How much are you going to get? 300 and what? 300 and what? Yeah, of $1 million? You're only going to get a third, Kelly.
No, I'm wiring money right now, Ron, and we're only saving 46,000.
All right.
The decrease in the appropriation was actually only 154,000.
All right, so bottom line, you're hurting the people in the town of Foster. Everybody talks about the land trust, what a great job it does. Education for your children. Thank you.
Ms. Joyce? Okay, thank you. Mr. DiPaolo?
Thank you.
Ms. Ryder?
One thing, the banners on the ball field. Okay, I know a couple of them are 250th. They're on the basketball fence. Okay, but a couple of them are people that are running for office. And I just think that it's kind of a bad look on a public, a taxpayer paid for, to have certain people running for office having a big banner on it. That's all. I didn't know if that was going to be allowed or what. And yeah, I know you can't answer. And another thing, I did see Village Gas. Is there going to be like a corporate sponsorship for teams or something like that they would have? I guess Situate does it. I don't know if Situate has big green things so you can't see what's in the ball field, but
Yeah, our rec director is doing a great job,
Yeah.
and that'd be on.
Right, right.
Yeah,
They
doing
are
everything.
paying for the
Yeah.
right for
they are.
sponsorship and stuff like that, yeah.
All right, we'll move to executive session.
I move to go into executive closed session pursuant to Rhode Island General Laws 42-46-5 for discussions or work sessions regarding collective bargaining, contract negotiations, or litigation according to Rhode Island General Laws 42-46-5A2, and to reconvene in open session, and further to keep the minutes of said meeting closed and the minutes of all executive sessions held previous to this meeting be closed and remain to provisions of general laws of Rhode Island 42-46-4 and 5.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we are in executive session. Yep.
I got it.